So that is Tyler Sanders, a number 4 defensive end in the nation and Marquette's number 1 recruit. He has given them a verbal commitment, and he is really close to committing, as you see, outbidding Alabama. And look at all these teams that actually passed up on him. I don't know why, but Marquette jumped on him, and it looks like he is headed to Marquette. As you see his skills right here, he might be actually coming in higher than what they're projecting right now. Looks like all C's. I mean, I don't know what's up with that. Even his play recognition is D. But number 4 in the nation, I mean, he's really impressive on tape. You can see it from those highlights. He's going to be a force for years to come for Marquette. Man, we got to keep up with this team. So let's just take a look at our pipelines going into this recruiting season. Ohio and Texas still, we have not gained another pipeline, as Wisconsin is pretty much on the way, and I'm pretty sure we're going to get them as a pipeline next season. Let's just look at the map, though. You see, I did kind of focus on the Midwest. I said that in the beginning of the series that we're going to focus only in the Midwest in recruiting. So nobody outside of that will really be recruited. Remember that for years to come, that, you know, when you submit your recruits next season, only going to be Midwest guys. So, you know, we did focus on Ohio last season a lot, but this season I'm not going to focus on that state. I'm going to focus on Illinois, Minnesota, Michigan, and Wisconsin the most. I want to see what we can get out of those 4 states. There are other states sprinkled in, so let's check out the rest of our recruits. So last season we did recruit at Green Bay Prep, and we looked at Bryce Alexander, the receiver, and this time we're going after his little brother. We highlighted him a little bit last year, and boy, does he still have the ball skills. He just goes up and gets it at his highest point. He has good speed. He's a great man cover corner, and I'm really looking forward to him committing to our school next season. But in his senior year, he's having a little bit of trouble tackling, and he makes mental lapses. I mean, that's the thing. He's been making them all season long, and that's kind of a concern. His junior year, I thought that he would be a higher ranked recruit, but you know, after this season, he's definitely dropped on a lot of guys' radars. So, you know, I don't know. We're going to need to polish him up a little bit when he gets up to the NCAA level. Staying at Green Bay Prep, I want to highlight Bradley Boudreaux, another safety that is interested in coming to Wisconsin State. Now, this guy is a hitter. He's a hard hitter. And in fact, maybe he's too good at hard hitting because he hasn't worked on much else, because his cover skills definitely need work. And I think he's a project. He will get the red shirt if he does commit to our school. But you know what? He has really good tackling instincts. He gets after the ball, good pursuit, good form, good technique, but that zone will need to improve. Now, sticking in the state of Wisconsin, I want to highlight a guy that we saw last year during the Wisconsin high school playoffs. This guy's Brian Simmons. He's a good quarterback, and I think he's an all-around guy. He's got great accuracy, and I want to see him improve here in his senior year. I'm actually looking forward to adding him to our school if he does decide to commit, because you know what? He's a great all-around quarterback, and he doesn't have like the breakaway speed. He kind of reminds me of Dwayne Haskins. You know, Haskins is more of a pocket passer. He has, you know, decent mechanics, not great, but he's definitely a guy we can develop. I want to highlight this play here, and this is what I'm talking about developing. So look at him in the pocket. Look at this open pocket in the zone he has to throw to. But look where he decides to throw this ball. He throws it to the inside. And that's something you have to work on. He has good accuracy, but his receiver bails him out on this play. He's definitely got to work on that awareness of where to throw the ball. So let's transition over to defense, and we're focusing on Spec Myers out of Toledo, Ohio. This guy is a good instinctive cornerback. He can tackle well. He can cover well. And you know what? I think he actually might be a starter when he comes in as a freshman. I'm not so sure about Zane Alexander anymore. He's a man-to-man corner, but he does make a lot of mistakes. Those mistakes Spec Myers just does not make. He's great pursuing the run. He's great even in blitzes, and he just makes good decisions as a defensive back. He doesn't get burnt, and he pretty much keeps everything in front of him. He has verbally committed, so I'm looking forward to adding him to the squad, and he's really close to signing his letter of intent. Let's go from one do-it-all guy to another. Blake Childress, and this guy he's special. I mean, I gotta admit, he's one of those guys where you don't really see on the stat sheet, but he's just all around the field. And that's the thing, you know, he wasn't really a stat sheet stuffer in high school, but he just always made the right play. He plays with a high motor, he has good coverage, good athleticism. The one thing he has to work on is just his technique. And especially in blitzing situations, he doesn't always make the proper pass rushing move, but he's a great guy in the middle of the defense. I'm looking forward to adding him to the team. Now, let's talk about a guy that I only have practice film on, but I hear great things. He actually did make All-State twice, and as a defensive tackle, that's actually pretty impressive. And that should show the type of impact he's had. And that's the thing, you know, he's very raw because, you know, he's used his strength and his size in high school. He's got a very high ceiling, but the thing is, his technique is just bad. But you know what? I think we can correct a lot of those issues. I think he can get away with using his strength in high school. He won't get away with that in college. But here's the thing. We need some beef up front, and we do not have that right now. And I want to see the jump for Shaq Royal and Alvin Ebiselli on our team right now. But I think that adding Brad Robinson will definitely help those two guys out on the D-line. Now, let's stick on the line, but on the other side of the ball. Brendan Evans is a mauler. This guy can play every position, probably except center, so he can play both guards, both tackles. But he's going to lead the way in blocking, especially with Jabari Blaze, who's come along. I think that Jabari Blaze is having a good year. He did fumble last game, but he does need better pass blocking and run blocking. And you know what? I think that this guy can definitely lead the way for him for years to come. So running back is probably the position we have the least amount of depth at. You just look at Jabari Blaze having a good season. Let's just look at his stats. 55 attempts, 149 yards rushing, and 2 touchdowns. I mean, not the greatest of starts, but it's actually on pace to be better than Gerard Humphreys the year he had last year. I mean, he finished with 280 yards. That just was not good enough. And Gerard Humphreys, I don't think he's going to touch the ball much more because we do use Jacoby Beck in the backfield, but halfback is definitely a position we need to kind of bolster up. So I want to check out this other guy we've seen in Wisconsin, and you know what? He's pretty special. Let's check out Adam Murphy. So Adam Murphy is special, but this recruiting class, we kind of had to think outside the box because we need to add some dynamic playmakers and kind of just, add to our depth. I think that's the thing. We don't have much depth right now. So we decided to go to a football camp in Chicago, Illinois. It's a breast cancer awareness camp, and it's, for a good benefit. So we decided to check it out. These are all high school players that are kind of going under recruited. So I thought this was a good place to start to find some hidden gems in the nation. And you know what? I don't think this is a bad idea. I think we're going to start coming back here every single season and checking out some of the talent across the Midwest. Now, the first guy we noticed in this camp that was going under recruited, and for a reason, he's only 5'6", 180. Bam Cameron out of Arkansas, Little Rock. And you know what? I see why he was under-recruited. I mean, he can pretty much only do one thing, and that's catch the ball out of the backfield. And you know what? He reminds me a lot of Darren Sproles. He's got even the same size as Darren Sproles, and might be maybe an inch taller than Darren Sproles, but this guy, he's got some wiggle to him. He actually has great acceleration when he gets the ball. Look at that. Look at that cut. He just cut inside and pretty much made that linebacker look foolish, but he has great hands as well. So motioning him out of the backfield and throwing to him is definitely going to help our offense add a new dynamic. Another guy we noticed at this camp was John Berg. He's a run stopper D-end. And this is something that we do not have on our team. Remember, Shaq Royal was more of the athletic defensive end, and Ebicelli was a pass rushing defensive end. So getting John Berg will definitely help stop the run. And I like that, he does get off blocks pretty easy. But the problem is he doesn't have the greatest motor, and he isn't in shape like he probably should be. And maybe that's why he's going under-recruited. But here's the thing. I really like his potential. He's got a lot of it. And I think that, with some good coaching, he can definitely turn into something. Maybe even get better as a pass rusher and maybe even be our full-time DN. Who knows? Another guy we discovered at this camp was Victor Dimitrankos, and this guy is an athletic line. Look at him. I mean, he just flashes. He just gets after the ball right away. Look at this. He's not allowing anybody to get any movement when they get the ball. Look at this. I mean, his pursuit is unlike any other. Look at this. I mean, his motor, his effort. But the problem is he's a huge risk taker. He can sometimes over pursue and get juked out of his shoes. I noticed one play that Bam Cameron, just put the moves on him, and I was like, oh my goodness. But here's the thing. He's a great all-around linebacker. And you know what? I think he can play day one, but using that red shirt is way too intriguing. I think that he can come back in his sophomore season and be a potential star. So let's look at our full board here. Zane Alexander is going to come in as our #1 recruit. And man, this is a deep cornerback class because he is number 155 in the nation. I think he had a chance to be a possible 4-star recruit, but I mentioned that, he just has been struggling his senior year and has kind of dropped other teams off of his board. And you know what? We're in the driver's seat and we're pretty much locked in to get him. Brad Robinson, I highlighted him earlier. He's a big strength guy. 80 strength would be one of our highest on the team, and he's got good power moves coming out, which is a B. Hit power at 80 because of that strength, but I really like him right now. We are in a battle with NIU, but it looks like we're going to take that. Now, we did get a verbal commitment from Spec Myers, but here is Toledo coming in for a last-second possible Hail Mary at Spec Myers. He's only a 1-star, 204 cornerback. And like I said, this cornerback class is so deep that I think they're underrating a lot of guys, but I like this guy a lot. Now, one guy that I actually did have some film on, but it got lost, Francis Smith. This guy is a monster. 6'5", 225 out of Madison, Wisconsin. Let's just look at his ratings here. He isn't the greatest route runner. He's got a D route running, but 85 jumping at 6'5", I can use that big frame. Rodney Ross kind of has that ability, but he just does not have the ability to go up and get it. He's just a big body out there, and I'm looking forward to Francis Smith. I don't know what he's going to be, but he's going to be pretty good. Now, Adam Murphy, well, we're in a deadlock race with Wisconsin. Who knew a good running back out of Wisconsin is trying to go to Wisconsin? But we're really, really close behind. We're actually making a move right now, and he's 41% locked. So this one actually might go to the offseason. I would not be surprised if it didn't, but let's just see. This is going to be an interesting battle. We need another running back, and especially to add more depth and to kind of alleviate Jabari Blaze's role. So Brian Simmons, he's a pocket passer, number 81 quarterback, and I think he's going to need a year of redshirting. We have Nathan Beaver on our roster. Remember, he actually got redshirted as well. So we're going to need to develop 2 quarterbacks, not just one, because you never know when one's going to get hurt. Now, I'm just going to call him Victor Dimitri because this guy is just athletic. Look at that strength, 88. You could just see the potential oozing out of this guy. He's going to come in as kind of a lower overall, and that's okay because you know what? I like his motor. He's going to come in and make plays whenever he's ready to hit the field, and we are in first for him. Now, I talked about Brendan Evans being a mauler. Right now, he's listed as a tackle, but I can definitely see him transitioning over to guard because you know what? He can play anywhere. And look at that impact blocking, 88. He will make an impact right away on that defensive line. Tommy Joad is going to be another offensive lineman that we're going to want to get out of Needham, Wisconsin, a 2-star, 310 pounds, 6'4". That's good size. And we do have his blocking ratings unlocked here. Another run blocker. So we're really trying to improve this run game, and these two guys will help out. Bradley Boudreaux, I kind of highlighted in the highlights of him that he will need a redshirt year, and yes, he will. He's got a high hit power, but not good coverage at all. He's D-zone coverage, 58 man. He's definitely going to need it, and we'll see if he does end up playing down the road. Now, Blake Childress is a guy that I might want a redshirt just to conserve another year of eligibility for him. He is out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, and you know what? He does like that his playing time is at an A+ bonus right now. So that's the thing. Can we keep him redshirted and keep him happy? I don't know, because he's probably expecting to play right away, but we'll see. Now, Cam Duvano is an interesting guy as well, out of Mankato, Minnesota. We are in first place for pretty much all of these top guys, which is a good thing, except Adam Murphy. But looking at Cam Duvano, I think that this guy is going to be, I don't know, he's going to be special, but where do we play him? He's 6'4". He's really, really big. Who knows? This guy could possibly even switch over to receiver. And you know, one thing I really like about him, he's got great play recognition. He's a smart safety, and maybe he can play a little bit of the outside cornerback. You know, Richard Sherman is the guy that comes to mind for this guy because Richard Sherman's actually kind of a lankier cornerback more than others, and maybe Cam Duvano will be just that lanky defensive back. Who knows? So let's look at Bam Cameron. I highlighted him in the highlights earlier, and you could just see, you know, not very good at running between the tackles at all. He doesn't have good trucking, doesn't have good break tackle, and you know, one thing that he's just great at is just catching. 75 catching as a running back is really, really good, and it's actually better than most of our receivers right now. So just looking at his speed, doesn't have the breakaway speed, but the acceleration's at an A, so that's a good thing. Now, we are in first place ahead of Arkansas State and Arkansas, so that's a good sign early. I do want to get him on the squad. He will add another dynamic. Mumar Rizvanovic. I mean, this guy's got a great motor, just like his other compadre out of Canada. I mean, this guy is pretty good, but I do need to conserve these guys and add depth to the team. So this guy will likely get the red shirt. He actually is a pretty good tackler right now. 78 tackling is better than most of our team. But here's the thing, we need that depth, so he might be a candidate for redshirt. I highlighted John Berg earlier, and he's a run-stuffing defensive end. You can see he's got to get that strength up, though. That's the thing. He's got to get that strength up. He can shed blocks better than most guys, but he's not very strong. So I think he can benefit from a redshirt year, but who knows? If something happens to a defensive lineman, he might be next in line. Eric Son out of Moline, Illinois. So this guy is special. The problem is he's short. He's much like Elgin Lloyd on our roster right now. Elgin Lloyd is the #1 corner. He's 5'9", but Eric Son is about an inch shorter. He's got decent speed at 88, but I just don't know right now where I would play him. I can't play 2 5'8" corners out there. So he's going to probably redshirt. But who knows? I mean, he's got good coverage in zone. He may be a nickel corner more than anything, and that's maybe where I'll play him because slot receivers will be smaller. But we'll see. I don't know. Now, let's move on to Ryder Corbett. So this is a guy that actually came on the radar pretty late. He's a decent run blocker, but I'm really looking for pass rushers, so I will be looking to add some pass rushers to the board. Michael Gallagher, another center. Now this guy, I think that he actually is better rated than what I initially thought. As you can see, we unlocked 55% of his ratings and he's went up 6 overall. great strength, great acceleration. He's a center right now, but I can see him as a guard because his impact blocking is going to be decent and his run blocking is decent. So keep an eye on him. Now, the last few guys on our board, Gavin Ginn, Andy Jones, and Isaac Mitchell, are all defensive guys who I really have my eye on, especially Andy Jones. This guy is going to be a good player, but here's the thing. I don't really know how good in coverage he is right now. As you see, he is C's, but I think he can show me something. He's got good hit power for a cornerback, but these other two guys, Gavin Ginn and Isaac Mitchell, are also decent, but they will also probably benefit from a year of redshirting. Here's a tackle, finally, Corey Sanders. Hopefully this guy, I don't have any ratings unlocked, but hopefully he does end up being a good pass blocker. Right now it says D, but hopefully that rises up to about a C. We'll see, but right now I have high hopes for him. And then the last guy on our board is Corey Miller. He's out of Normal, Illinois. We kind of wanted to use Illinois, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan as kind of hotbeds for recruiting this year, and even Canada. I mean, we have a couple of Canadian recruits, and that's a good sign because, you know, we do kind of want to spread it out just a little bit, but we want to stay in the Midwest. And Canada isn't really in the Midwest, but it's out of the country, so we're getting that advantage of kind of recruiting where other guys are not. So I want to just take a look at the Spark 100, just take a look at the top 100 guys, and the number one guy is actually interested in Nebraska. Nebraska and Tennessee. I don't think I've ever seen Nebraska get a number one recruit, but I have actually noticed that Nebraska throughout dynasties does get really, really good. So maybe this is the start of their dynasty. You can see the number two guy headed for Alabama, most likely ahead of Georgia, and no surprise there. And then the number two receiver in the nation is Anthony Brown, headed to Purdue almost. So they are in a deadlock with Arkansas, but I'm actually surprised. Nebraska and Purdue are at the top of these top five guys. So let's just keep going down the line here, see if we see any surprise schools that are getting one of these top guys. And look at this, Toledo looking at Maurice Boyd. Wow, could this guy put them on the map? He's A-speed. He looks like a defensive guy as well. And yeah, he looks like a straight defensive guy. I mean, he's got B-man, B-zone, B play recognition. He's going to be good. So this is what the top 100 is going to look like. I don't think there's any more big surprises. Northwestern here, Jonathan Sims, remember they got demoted into our conference. So, hey, if they don't win it this season or at least get in the top two, hey, they may be, you know, a pretty formidable force if they get some top guys. Buffalo's even up here for a 5-star running back. That'd be surprising if they get him. And I'm actually looking forward to seeing what this recruiting class does shape up to be. A ton of receivers, a ton of athletes, and a ton of cornerbacks. More than I've probably seen in a lot of classes. So this is going to be fun and to see what these guys all do. So like I said last episode, we are heading into conference play, and we started out versus 1 and 2 USF and UCF, and then we have a big game versus our rival Marquette. And you know, our schedule, it does get pretty tough because we play some good teams, and especially, you know, right in the middle of this schedule, we play Marquette, Navy, Tulsa, Minnesota, and SMU. That's a tough part of our schedule, especially with these offenses. I'm surprised SMU is so bad, but Minnesota's going to be a tough game. I know that. Navy runs the triple option. That's definitely going to be a tough game. And then Tulsa is always a tough team to beat for some reason in any dynasty you play in. So we have our work cut out going into conference play. 1 and 2, but let's go 1 and 0 in conference, starting out versus USF next episode. So hit subscribe, hit that like button. Stay tuned. Let's get it. Let's go.